So today we're in Durham in the northeast of England. We'll visit in Durham Cathedral. It's just south of Newcastle upon Tyne. The cathedral was also known as the Church of Christ, Blessed Mary the Virgin and St Cuthbert of Durham. So this is also where the shrine of St Cuthbert is. The cathedral is still one of the one locations in the UK that has got its own Meridian line, which is what we're here for today. So the Meridian line is what takes into account for the path of the sun. So this is also referred to as day arc. It refers to the daily sunrise and sunset times and the seasonal arc of the sun. So it basically follows it across the sky. So this is where the stories of Apollo comes from, and Apollo's chariot that drags the sun across the sky, or Ra would travel across the sky in his solar bark. So these are the same stories of the sun, and this story, of course, with it being a cathedral in the UK, is based around Jesus as the Sun King. So for that reason we'll find plenty of Jesus symbolism through numerology and the use of gematria within this cathedral, bearing in mind that gematria is based on geometry, which is what the stonemasons were using to build these cathedrals, hence why the symbol of Freemasonry is the square and compass with the G. It's geometry, it's what it's based on. So this is why gematria is so important. Those gematria numbers are placed into the cathedral as the resonance of the cathedral. They are the frequencies encoded into the dimensions. So this is an important aspect. It's a part of Leonardo da Vinci's research on the Last Supper, and what's encoded into Durham Cathedral is exactly the same as what da Vinci's put into the Last Supper. So that's important to understand. Reading the Last Supper from right to left, we have a meridian line. That's what the table represents, the sun travelling through the zodiac signs and the seasons. So that's what we're here for today at Durham Cathedral. That's what it's all based on. It's this aspect of my research. It's kind of why we were in Luxor as well. There's an avenue of the Sphinxes that runs between Luxor Temple and the temple in Karnak. So this is where the sun's path would transition throughout the year, and the light would end up in Luxor, hence it being Luxor, Lux meaning light, or Karnak Temple. So this is where the sun would stand still for the longest and shortest times of the day each year, which is of course what solstice means. It literally means sun standing still. So Durham Cathedral is located at 54 degrees north. This is one of the lower octaves of the numbers of the sun. 54, 108, 216, 432, 864. They're all numbers that are considered cosmic, and they're given reference to the sun. 864 being the 864,000 diameter of the sun, 432 being the 432,000 mile radius of the sun. These numbers are approximates and they're cosmic numbers. This is where the coding comes from. So 54 degrees is the north, is the coordinates north for Durham Cathedral, and it's located in the west at 1.34 degrees. The axis line that runs through the cathedral is an east to west axis line from the rose window running down to the two western towers. The decimal coordinates for Durham Cathedral is 1.57 degrees. So this is important to understand because that's a number that's a reference to the Great Pyramid of Giza. So the Great Pyramid was aligned to the cardinal points for this reason as well. Of course, it's a compass rose. This is exactly what it forms. It's the compass of Earth's grid. The 1.757 degree decimal coordinates of Durham Cathedral are referencing the 11/7 base to height ratio at the Great Pyramid. So 11 divided by 7 equals 1.57. So this is where it comes from. It's a reference used as Giza was the prime meridian in its day. That's exactly what it was used for, hence why we have Greenwich now in London on the River Thames, which was the River Isis. So that was why these buildings were created. That's the original use for these buildings. From east to west is the nave. When you follow the sun path through the church, you'd be able to tell the times of the year and follow the seasons. So this is why we have so much astrological and astronomical symbolism placed into cathedrals of what people say is hidden in plain sight. So originally Durham Cathedral was the successor to the Anglo-Saxon Lindisfarne Priory. Of course, this is the part of the country that we're in. So it was well known for the prior Castell's astronomical clock, which is what I've already mentioned. It's in correlation with the meridian line. So back in the day, they'd use the sun and the moon to read the measurements of time. Originally, it was actually the moon that read the measurements of time. This is why a lot of symbolism in ancient Egypt is actually based around the moon, as well as the sun, of course. So the meridian is an avenue. These avenues run between Stonehenge and Blue Stonehenge, or the avenue runs between Avebury and the Sanctuary, are doing the exact same things. They're sun paths, so the sun aligns on the solstice dates. As the sun travels throughout the year, it lands on one location or the other. It will land in Stonehenge for the summer solstice and in the Sanctuary for the winter, and it'll be celebrated this way, whichever way the sun aligns on the solar path. So it would be celebrated, of course, for midsummer and midwinter. So in Freemasonry, these are the two Johns. This is the Masonic feast, which of course is the Last Supper, is the Masonic feast. So it's showing us the cycle again of the sun. So St. John the Baptist represents midsummer, St. John the Divine represents midwinter. So these are the two Johns who represent the two pillars of Freemasonry. This is why when we look at Durham Cathedral, you'll notice that they have a set of twin towers, which are the two western towers, which both stand at 144 feet in height. So getting into the dimensions of the cathedral was first opened in 1133. And the dimensions are very specific. It's all based on Jesus Christ as the sun god, or as the solar king. The length of the cathedral is 156 yards. So we know that is the 156 prime is 911. So when we look at the area code for Durham, it's 0191. They have the two pillars encoded into this. So the nave width then is 24.6 meters. So that is another one of Jesus' gematria values, this time for the word Christ, which equals 246 in Prime's gematria. Again, keeping in mind that this is the geometry that's been used to build these cathedrals. That's what we're looking at. It's simple geometry that's been used by the stonemasons to construct these buildings. Moving forward, the choir height then is 74 feet in height, and this is where we find Jesus' entire gematria values encoded in this one little measure in the choir height, which is an important place, of course, of the choir, because it's references to musical resonance, frequencies, harmonics. So the 74-foot height is reference to Jesus in English ordinal gematria equaling 74, and then we have that is equal to 24.6 yards. Again, that is the value of Christ in Prime's gematria, or that also translates to 888 inches, which is, of course, the value of Jesus Christ is 888. Jesus in Greek isopsephy gematria equals 888. Going to go for a little walk around the cathedral. I'll take you inside, have a little look for the Meridian line, have a look at the shrine of St. Cuthbert, the astronomical clock. So I'll just leave you to enjoy the video.